Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting, City of Guadalupe, City Council. May we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Costa Jr.
Here.
Councilmember Fernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Villegas.
Here.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Here.
And Mayor Julian.
Here. We have a quorum. Will you please stand with me for the pledge? And after that, if you don't mind standing for the condolences and thank you and thanks. Ready? Begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Our next item, it's a moment of thanks, appreciation, or condolences, and a moment of silence. I would like to. There's a couple residents from Guadalupe that passed. Anita Ariano, 96, she passed from Guadalupe. Crescencino Cio Buster Ujano, 75, he passed. And also, we mentioned last time, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, both 37, who were killed in Minnesota. So if you don't mind a moment of silence, if you don't wish to do that, you can sit down, but please stand with me for a couple seconds for a moment of silence for the above. Thank you. Is there anybody else wish to mention? Anybody? You good? Okay. The next item is the agenda review. At the City Council at this time would look at the order of business, and if there's any, is there any changes or requests? We're good? Good. Next item is item 5. I'm going to read it out so that people understand. I know we have some visitors that would wish to talk about certain things that Chief may be talking about. On the community participation, each person will be limited to a discussion item of 3 minutes, or as directed by the mayor. Pursuant to provisions of the Brown Act, no action may be taken on these matters unless they are listed on the agenda or unless certain emergency or special circumstances exist. The City Council may direct staff to investigate and or schedule certain matters for the consideration of a future agenda item, council meeting. So if there's a request to speak for those items that are not on the agenda, I have 2, but if there's any individuals that want to speak on an item that's not on the agenda, please fill out a form. So I don't think we received anything via email regarding this, but anyway, we'll go to Mr. George Gonzalez.
Hello, Mayor, council members here. I had an issue here. It's an ongoing process with this incident with the insurance increase that's going to affect not just individuals, the whole city in general of Guadalupe. Okay. And I just want to know where we stand on this, because it's been a roller coaster going back and forth, and we just need to know where we're going, where we stand on this matter. Because I'm getting a lot of feedback from Pasadero and other people. I did some research on this stuff, and it's like, I know the Monarch News up here, I mean, these Napomo homes, they got it, they had the same issue and they had it resolved. I talked to a Corey, and Corey's trying to talk to me about this too. And we're trying to figure out how we got from a 4 for years to a 10. And we're a small community. We don't have no forest out here. The only thing we have to worry about is tsunamis or earthquakes, and that's what a lot of people are concerned about at this point. And we just want to know how you and staff and everybody else are going to handle it and how you're going to resolve the matter. Because I understand from different insurance companies that there was a matter that was just a matter of a phone call to get somebody out here. I talked to Corey. He's going to try to get somebody. I'm sure I understand Corey talked to you, Mr. Mayor, as well. He's going to try to get, I guess, the fire chief or somebody from the area to come over and help with the paperwork, which I told him the city could probably use all the help we can get to try to resolve this matter. But at this point, there's a lot of concerned people. And I also understand too, that what's going to happen in Guadalupe, you're not going to be able to sell a home unless you get insurance. And right now, as it stands, insurance companies aren't going to renew policies. They're going to either cancel you and then of course, underwriters like rent out homes or sell homes, banks, they're not going to want to cover anybody that doesn't have insurance, which nobody's going to be able to get. So that's basically where it stands at this point. And all people are asking for is to keep in the loop and find out what's going on with this and not going in a circle round and round. Because I was under the understanding that this matter was supposed to be back in June or July, I believe. And it's since then, I've been personally getting, saying, well, we're going to take care of it. We're working on this. We're working on that. I also got a paper from Chief Cash, which indicated the matter that we thought at the time, me and Chief Cash thought it would be resolved. It was not. The insurance company said, no, this doesn't hold any weight. So, it's just a matter of a phone call, understanding from the insurance company. And I'm sure Chief Cash would, I believe Chief Cash spoke over the phone yesterday regarding a phone number that could be done to Sacramento to get this done. Because I understand the insurance companies have a third party that reviews this. And the main concern is that the people in Guadalupe in general and are worried about it because a lot of them are fixed incomes, middle class, or on Social Security retired. And how are they going to afford this, this outrageous amount on their insurance? And that's why I came here. I was expecting more people from the city to come out here that I spoke to. And a lot of us did some research on this. So basically that's where we stand on this matter. And we wanted to see if we could put this on the agenda for 2 weeks from now, if it's possible to see what the outcome is. Because I do have a girl I spoke to that works with the state, and she's going to see what she could do on her end to try to resolve this matter, find out what we can do. So basically that's about it, And I just want to see how we stand. And I know Chief Cash has probably got his hands tied, and I do appreciate his effort to try to do some of this. But when this matter first started, I thought it was a matter of the fire department. It wasn't. It went to Todd, and Todd pushed it on Chief Cash. And that's where we stand at this point, So I just want to know who is actually accountable for this. And it, basically the ball got dropped, and we just need to find out how we could correct it is what we're trying to ask for. It's what we're doing. So.
Okay, thank you for your comments. And I think Chief Cash will be talking a little bit. I'm assuming we'll talk a little bit more about this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next individual, Martha Garcia.
Hi.
Hi, is this on the same item?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm her interpreter.
Okay, cool.
No, I'm just kidding.
Welcome.
My name's April. This is my mom, Martha. She's been having an issue with tickets being given to her vehicles and them actually being towed away. It was about, like how many months ago? Like 3 months ago or so. And it's because of a no parking zone, but I have pictures right here on my phone that can prove that there is nowhere on her where she parked where it says no parking. It's between the Guadalupe laundromat right there. It says no parking facing that way. Like when you drive in, you see a no parking sign. And then when you're driving into the end of the alley on our side, there's another one right there. So it's like probably about like 20 feet apart. Like you mean that says no parking, and where she lives, where she has lived for 15 years, she's parked right there. And just a few months ago, they started issuing her a lot of tickets, and they actually towed a vehicle that she was about to get tagged the next day. So, and now that car's gone. You know what I mean? Like she lost out on a vehicle, and she has all these tickets, and she is on a fixed income. She doesn't have the means to really pay for these tickets that are quite expensive.
Okay, I think police chief is here to hear that. Have you talked to him?
I talked to Officer Lamone this morning.
No, we have not spoken with him.
Okay,
Spoke with him.
all right. He hears you. And then he'll get the specific from you, so.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see another gentleman slowly walking up. Good, don't go anywhere. Are you on this item, on open session? Open item, okay, on that, please.
So I'm one of the neighbors here and from the Pasadena side. I had the same concern. I talked to some of my neighbors. They were telling me they got their increases of $1,000. One had $1,300. That's a concern. From my point of view is I just want to get it resolved. Because if you go across 2,200 homes in the city, adds up pretty quickly, 52% home ownership. That's, you're talking over $1 million in 1 year, and it's going to be staggered up, and it goes, that renovation gets every 3 to 10 years, depends on when it gets done. And so that adds up in the long term, a lot of money. That's a lot of money that could stay locally. So that's what I'm supporting what George was talking about.
Thank you. I know the chief, that's not an agenda item, but he's gonna, he has some information that he's gonna share with us during his presentation. So thank you. Anybody else out there who wishes to speak on an item that's not on the agenda? If not, we'll go to the consent calendar. The items are presented, the city council approval without discussion is single in the agenda item. Is there a council person who wishes to pull an item from the consent calendar?
I'd like to pull the warrants, item B.
Warrants, which is
B.
B. Anybody else? Can I have a motion to approve everything except B?
I'll make a motion to approve the remaining of the balance.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye. All right, okay. Ms. Villegas.
Okay, I have a few, and I'll start with Chief. This is on page 6 of the warrants, and it looks like there's first of all, the amount is 13,000, and it's marketing website redesign. I guess my question is this a new vendor that you're using? And if so, why?
Yes. We found because of the tariffs and so forth, there's a lot of designers that are kind of like out of work. And we've received a lot of complaints from not only internally, I mean, as far as in the city, but outside as far as our website. And we have a lot of links that are not connected. People have a big problem with it. So we went out, we kind of searched who could assist us, and they gave a pretty great presentation, everything that we were asking for to kind of make it happen, not only on the web design, but also on community relation items that we could give to the community and so forth. So I have pretty much a entire package that we can get done. And I was also seeing if it is what we think it is. I've already notified Mr. Trujillo, is that maybe this is something we should look citywide too. If this kind of comes across at least our expectations. So we're the test part.
Okay.
I have a follow-up question on that one.
Oh, go ahead.
Is that website going to be attached to our city website?
It'll be the police
Integrated?
department, fire department integrated in like within that website. Yes,
Within the
ma'am.
city website? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead, please.
Back to you, Chief. On page 13, there's a 1-year subscription of $3,000 for Gov Pilot. And what is that?
Is that code compliance? Yes. Patrick helped put
Your
that
reference.
together. Oh, definitely. That's code compliance software so that it makes it easier and faster for us to categorize and issue citations and track everything. So that way, when we go to our hearing judge, we're now in the 21st century.
Okay. Final question for you, Chief. I didn't put a post-it, but it appears that you purchased a new vehicle for PD. $43,000.
73 or 70, several new vehicles. Yes.
Okay. Was this part of your rotation process that you talked about before?
Yes.
Okay. So what happens to, let's say you bought 2, so you're rotating 2 out. What happens to those ones that are rotated out? Or how are they rotated?
Yeah. Usually because of mileage. Or what's occurring right now, we're really spending more money on maintenance and upkeep than what we got for the vehicle. So we try to Normally we'll use Craigslist.
Oh.
So we'll strip everything down and then we'll try to auction it off that way.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Just a couple more questions. This is for Annette. Let's see, on page 18 of the warrants, there were under J&E cleaning or cleaning service. If I read this correctly, it appears that there were a number of late invoices. Do we know why?
I'm not sure why,
Okay,
but in trying to remediate the late fees that have been happening, we are actually now having check runs every week so that we can avoid late charges like that, whether the invoice didn't get to us or we had to wait for the next council meeting for ratification. We just felt like the late fees are piling up, so we just need to be doing it every week. So
for specific to this, the cleaning service one where there are multiple months that are shown on the warrants, does that mean that we're now current with them? Or
I would
close
have
being
to
current?
I would have to look into that specifically. But that's what we're trying to do, is just make sure that everybody is up to date so that we're not paying
Okay.
late fees anymore.
And you've actually answered my other next question, so I'm done.
Okay, is there a motion to approve item B under consent?
I'll make a motion to approve item B and the consent calendar.
For second,
I'll second.
any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All ayes, thank you. Next item is management reports, interim city administrator, Mr. Trujillo.
Right. Good evening, Mayor, council members, community members, staff. So we'll start out with some things we got going on. We're doing the groundbreaking for Las Mujeres on Friday, 3 p.m. The contractor, the other parties involved, the architects and design team, they're all planning on being there as well. Arnulfo's kind of put together a good little flyer and everything, got that out there. So we're expecting good things to come from that. We got the 303, the courtyard, we got that started. They're doing earthwork right now. And then also at 303, the SCADA system is just about got all the kinks worked out of it. So hopefully the next council meeting, we'll be closing that and taking that off the agenda. We also have the Amtrak going. We're still processing submittals, like RFIs, requests for information, things like that. They have the fancy Portland Loo bathroom has been ordered. That's got like the most lead time for that project, besides apparently moving the caboose. So as soon as that's moved, then we can start breaking ground there. Later in the month of February, Enterprise is going to be coming and doing a fleet management kind of a presentation with their lease program, how they offload vehicles for us, the whole gambit of what they can do for us to help our vehicles keep value before it's time for us to get rid of them, so we can get rid of our assets when they're actually still an asset. Let's see, still coming up in February, we're still planning for Tom to be here for the reconciliation of all the invoices to him and with the city, and getting that all kind of squared away. So with the Royal Theater, as of the latest up-to-date information, gas company's coming out next week. They're going to cut and cap some lines so we can get going with relocating the gas meter. We're contacting the neighboring property owners just for construction equipment moving and lay down yard stuff, and kind of going back over property line issues. The lobby area of the theater has been cleared of all abatements done. They're still working on the interior, well, past the lobby portion. The damage that they're starting to see is more structural, so more vertical beams, things like that, as far as in the lobby. And it seems to be mostly street facing location on the walls. Let's see what else. They're gonna start doing some exploratory cutting next week, looking for the utilities that are inside the theater, seeing where that stuff's kind of headed. And then the marquee is coming down Monday and Tuesday. So as long as the permit goes through, hopefully it should go through this week. We did all the signing on all that, so that should be going good. And then the other thing with the Royal Theater, we've been in talks with Tom over the last week. Tom is going to be stepping down as the PM. As of right now, the city is going to be absorbing the project to go with our other handful of projects we have going. We are going to push to keep Tom on as capital campaign because he has brought money to the project and he is currently looking for operators for the facility. And that's something that we need to get done before we open. So we're going to be presenting that next month as well, to amend his contract and switch him to strictly capital campaign stuff. And then the city, between Public Works, the city engineer, and the contract management we have on the ground already, we feel that we can take that over. So that is my report. Does anybody have any questions?
Just PM is project manager, so people.
Correct. Yeah. Project manager.
Go ahead.
A couple questions. And just to clarify, you're still reconciling the finances on that, correct?
Yeah. We had to pull a net.
I'm sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
we had to pull a net away from
Okay.
that process for the mid-year review.
Understood.
So
One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
The marquee is coming down, you mentioned. How long will the marquee be down?
once the marquee comes down, it will be down until a new one is up. I don't really have an
We don't
actual
we don't
turnaround time
know.
for that, no.
Okay, I feel like that's
Sorry,
just,
yeah.
no, it's just such a big, thing when you drive it downtown Guadalupe. So,
Right.
we should all be prepared for a bit of a change.
Yeah. Yeah, at least for the interim. Maybe we can get the police little flasher thing and we can start doing announcements on that.
What happens to, are we
just kidding.
refurbishing the old marquee or are we putting a new one up?
Do you know, Jeff? Yeah,
I don't remember.
I don't
either.
recall off the top of my head. either.
Okay, because I was gonna say if I feel like, what are they gonna do with the old one?
I think the goal is to try to refurbish as much as they can to
That's what I
save
recall.
money.
They're gonna redo the neon and everything
Yeah.
else. so-
Okay, cool.
I think that's
And
the
then
plan.
lift it up because it's too low. Yeah.
Oh, is it too low? Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions of David, Mr. Trujillo?
What's that, sir?
No, was there questions? Okay. All right, next item 8 is Director of Public Safety, Chief Cash.
Chief, do you want me to put your presentation up right now?
Not yet. Just
Not yet.
give me about 30 seconds. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and our community members. Just two quick items before I put we have the PowerPoint up. Last month, we had a laundromat theft. In itself, it's not huge unless you're the victim. So I was one who took the report and
You're talking clothes, not the laundromat.
yeah, the report. Yes.
No, what's theft?
Oh, clothing.
Clothes, okay. all
Yes.
right.
So it's all this young lady's clothing. And thank goodness there were cameras there. So we put together a Crime Stoppers and sent that out. And we had several people call. The victim came by maybe about 8 o'clock last night. I was still in the office. And so she got to set and listen to some of the people who called in who identified the suspect. So it was, in a sense, it was nice to kind of have a young lady who was just very distraught and couldn't understand her stuff was stolen, and to see the process. And so now we know who the person is. And I spent part of my morning driving in Santa Maria trying to locate this guy, but we're working to try to put together a warrant so that we can finalize this. So it's in a sense, it's not a huge issue, but to be able to see that sense of relief from her, because she thought it was something personal that she did, and to understand and know it's not, it was very satisfying on my end to really be able to help somebody like that. The second one prior we go is we just received a not a public, it is a public announcement per se, from the California Attorney General's office and Governor Newsom to all law enforcement. He is letting us know that local and state police have the authority to investigate crimes committed by federal agents. And this is in response to the situation that's occurring in Minneapolis, sir. So just so that you do understand and you know where what's going on, and this is going out publicly. So I'm sure there might be questions concerning department law enforcements through their cities and so forth. And this is something that we will discuss with the officers as far as how we're going to handle certain situations.
Chief, a quick question. Were you the one that put up the Crime Stoppers around town? The photo and then the report. I've seen it. No.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was somebody worried, and I just wanted to make sure.
Trying to earn my money. Okay. The citizens that spoke today concerning the insurance, we've been working on this since 2024, Captain Schmidt and I, and this has been an interesting process, a lot of learning that really occurred on this. But then too, I want our community members to know, I hear their comments, but no one comes to my office and talks to me directly of what's happening and what's going on. I got a couple back there. She's my parking enforcement officer. We have been working together because they had a similar issue. And Captain Schmidt reached out to some of the insurance agents, and they asked if we could do a letter for them so that they can have some cushion room while we continue to work on that. So I have written 13 different letters and contacted different agents. I've only had one agent so far come back and say that they don't accept the letter. So, there's a lot of miscommunication that is occurring. And I just, for future reference, I let anybody know, please come by my office if you really want to know like what's going on. Okay, first of all, I'm going to really so that people can understand what happened, where we're at, and what we're looking at for the future concerning the situation. You can see there the purpose of the schedule. The ISO outlines the criteria for evaluating fire prevention, fire suppression capabilities in individual communities or fire protection areas. The purpose of such an evaluation is to develop a public protection classification, which everyone understands the PPC, for property insurance ratings. Okay, the schedule is a property insurance rating tool and is not intended to analyze all aspects of a comprehensive public fire protection program. ISO, the report everyone's referring to, collects and evaluates information from communities in the United States and others and their structure fire suppression capabilities. The data is analyzed using their fire suppression rating schedule, and then a public protection classification grade is assigned to the community. The surveys are conducted whenever it appears that there is a possibility of a PPC change. As such, the PPC program provides important up-to-date information about the protection throughout the country. So first of all is the evaluations are done via surveys that are sent to fire departments. And I am where the buck stops. If anyone's asking, as far as Captain Schmidt and I work together to do this, and there was already a classification prior to my employment. I'll show you how many years in between different evaluations. This is the important part too. ISO is not a public agency, so there's no regulations. It is an independent company that serves insurance companies, communities, fire departments, insurance regulators, and others by providing information at risk. And I really say that in the sense is this is a private company, so it's not, we don't have any control as far as a local fire department and knowing what their standards are on a regular basis. So if they were a state agency, it's written, it's public. We always know what we have to do to stay regulated. So like I said before, this is an independent company. The ISO's expert staff collects information about municipal fire suppression efforts in communities throughout the United States. Each of those communities, ISO analyzes the relevant data and assigns a grade from 1 to 10. 1 is you're outstanding, and 10 is you did not meet. And this is the most important part. If you look at on that slide, class 10 indicates that the area's fire suppression program did not meet their minimum criteria. Okay. Okay. These are the things that they collect information on. They review the emergency communications. It counts for 10% of the overall score. They review the fire department. It counts for 50% of the overall score. And they review the water supply system, which counts for 40% of the overall score. So you can see, you get a 1, you got to score about 90 or more. And if you get a 10, it's either a 0, which what it comes down to be. So you can have anything in between, but if you get a 10, they're not going to cover you. This one here shows through countrywide where a lot of the scores came up. You can see there a 10. There's about 1,500, okay? We were prior a 4, okay? We were very low on that scale, okay? And it'll show later on where our score is now. And you see at the very top, the last time they did evaluations was 2017, 7 years ago. The review, ISO concluded its review of the fire suppression features being provided by Guadalupe, and we received a 10. This is the chart. And the part that I found out is when I talked to some of the agents, no one had this except for me. The agents, all they give them is a number. My own fire department didn't have it, which I didn't know. I thought my captain did. So I get it. So I'm sharing something that really, most times it doesn't really come out in the public, but it's information that people need to understand. So you see there, emergency communications, okay? Credit available is a 10. We got a 9.2. Our fire department, the top credit you can get is 50. We're at 15.59. Water supply, you can get a 40. We're at 28.96. And for divergence for other community risks, so forth, you can get a 5.5. We got a 4.23. Our total score is 49.74 out of a 105. And I'm not sure if it's on the slide, but on that score, we pretty much, well, the next slide, I think we went down to a 6. Which it is there. So it's imperative that you are aware that you're currently, and this is, I'm sharing now as an email that I communicated with the people that are doing the evaluations. Says that currently survey result in class 10 due to not meeting the minimum response of 4 firefighters. Can be 3 firefighters and 1 chief officer on the initial alarm to all structure fires. Your point total also results in a retro progression from a class 4 to a 6. The part I want to really kind of get across here, our score was a 6. The way their scoring does is if you do not score in each category, and if you miss one category, they don't care about the score. You got a 10. Everyone kind of understand that? So it took me a while because the first time I called, I asked them, well, we got a 49. So I'm looking at like in school, what's the number to pass? And I was told there is no number to pass. It says if you miss one of those things, then I don't care what your score is, you got a 10. And you could see right there what happened is you need to have 4 firefighters on each shift. Since we do not, we did not pass before we even took the survey. This is what they told me where we lost our points. Okay. Deployment analysis. Okay. We lost about a point because Station 1, which is over at the vets facility, we have no one there. So we lost a point. Company personnel. Okay. You can see we got a 2.5 and we dropped from a 7.78. That was the hit. Training, 2.82, and we got we dropped from a 4.56. So that was about 2 drops. The other one was about 5. And water supply, and I'll explain all this other initially. We had a 19.8. We dropped, we could have had a 28.75. So only those 4 areas out of everything else were where our deficiencies were. But the way they grade, all of that doesn't matter because we do not have 4. Technically, we would have to have 100% hiring for additional fire. So proposed correction methods, Captain Schmidt and I talked about for the station, there's only 1 point. And right now we don't have a staffing to put somebody just sitting over there. Company personnel, the only way you can get this is hiring. And we have, so, and let me finish this. And training, it's just more of increasing our scheduling of how we do training. When you only have 2 people there and the others are off, it's kind of hard to do group training because then that's a lot of overtime or calling somebody back into work. And for the water supply, it's only pretty much about increasing our flow testing cycles. So at least the last 2 are internal. There's things that we can definitely change. Okay, and it says here, this is the email. It says your plan of improvement should be received no later than November 11th, 2024. We had been talking with them about how we can get things done. Captain Schmidt, we found one of the representatives who does a survey. They were in the Orchid area, and we had arranged to have them come here physically so we could work to find a way to kind of get around that. And while Captain Schmidt was on the phone, they were kind of going down, well, have you done this? Have you done this? And when we got to the area of staffing, says, well, we don't have 4. They go, you failed, and conversation was over. So they're saying here the plan should address the steps that would be taken to ensure the minimum response of 4 firefighters will be met. You may also address other areas where points were lost. Please be advised that additional points cannot be adjusted unless the minimum response is met. So it doesn't matter what we adjust. If we don't meet the minimum response, you failed anyhow. Steps taken to correct deficiencies. So, some people kind of ask, well, what have we been doing since? Okay. 2020. Okay. I can't see it up there. 2020, the fire. After I was hired, I looked at, we started off and people talk, well, what has changed? When we came in, we had 3 full-time firefighters. That was it. 2020, I took 1 police officer position, got rid of it, and I sent that funds over to the fire department, and we were able to increase the department by 100%. We hired 3 fire engineers. 2021, City Council approved the fire battalion chief position that I had been lobbying for, and definitely appreciate that. 2023, we instituted a firefighter intern program. What we're trying to do was to find pathways for some of our young people to look at being firefighters and look at a long-term method of hopefully getting them within the system to be at least part-time firefighters to increase our staffing levels. 2023, the city council approved fire impact fees to secure additional funding sources for the fire department. So we were also looking at how can we, without hitting the budget, increase our monies, especially when we had Pasadena and we were going to increase as far as our population. In 2024, we applied, unfortunately didn't get the federal SAFER grant. That grant would have allowed us to hire 3 firefighters and not pay money for 3 years. So that way we could be able to plan and budget for that. It's a very competitive, and as my captain stated, they usually give it to a department that is like right close to needing or meeting those minimum standards. Well, we weren't that close, and it's a very nationally competitive grant. 2024 City Council approved fire dispatch system to improve safety and protection. That is what helped our rating there. They knew that we were kind of pushing that issue, but that also is one thing increased the budget. 2025. We were tasked with doing a state of the city presentation. And in that, we outlined our goals as far as developing cross-training of fire and police and looking at increasing training opportunities. So what really changed in 2017 when this was done? We had 3 full-time fire personnel. The difference, we had about 16 to 17 PFCs, part-time firefighters. The way they grade is they look at timesheets and schedules. So looking at those timesheets and schedules of those PFCs that were here, we had 4 on or that were near or available. Right now, we have no part-time firefighters, and all we have is a total of 6 firefighters. What has changed? You have to look at police and fire departments. A police department, as far as personnel, change over a lot. They're going to different departments. There's injuries, there's outs. So there's always hiring of law enforcement. Fire is they will stay. They'll stay 20, 30 years in the fire department. This is a cyclical issue that you don't see on the police side. On the fire side is those firefighters will stay 20, 30 years, but academies still keep going. And with that, you have these young people who have the academy training, but there's no job openings. That's when we get a lot of applicants for part-time fire. We're the only one who does it in the county. So they need to keep their skills up. So they come to us as part-timers waiting to get a full-time job. As that cycle happens, fire, they have huge retirements. When that happens, all those part-timers, they go get those jobs. Then we don't have any applicants. We're in that cycle right now. There are firefighter jobs. So why come here? And Captain Schmidt and I looked at the pay. I think we came out to almost $3 an hour. Why would you come here to do this when you can get a full-time job in Santa Maria? Recommendations. That has been the change of why we don't have the staffing. And that is what the Achilles heel was, as far as we were able to do this in 2017, but we can't do it now. So one things that we had looked at, I had visited, there's a police department where there's the personnel, they call public safety, they're fire and police trained. So we looked at cross-training police officers to assist. Captain Schmidt drew up a training program. And with that, we could meet the threshold for ISO. But we have to look at, let's be realistic. If we're going to have additional training, they're going to want pay for that additional training. Right now, we're at top is a 4% specialty pay. Okay, but with that, we'd also have to hire at least 3 part-time firefighters, and we're giving approximate cost, 36,000 without the equipment. So we look at approximate cost 80 to 100,000 per year, but that is the fastest way that we could look to change the ratings if they accept it. That would be the fastest way. The other way, another possibility is hire 6 part-time firefighters. Okay, and we played with those figures. It'd come about the same thing, between 80 to 100,000 a year. And we put up there, hire 6 full-time firefighters, approximately 116,000 with benefits. You can see there 696,000 a year. That's why I didn't bring that to council. That's my budget on steroids for both departments. A citizen brought up, who called me, says, well, why don't we just contract to the county? Funny thing about it, I had looked at that. It was going to be 3 times of what we budget right now for the county to do it, and they would only have 1 truck here. So we looked at other aspects. So people understand, we've been wrecking our minds out here of what other things can we do. Well, there's one thing that we looked at also, is with the new dispatching system. The old dispatching system is, if there's a fire in Guadalupe, we send the fire. If it's bigger than what we need, we call Santa Maria and they come. But that's a delay. So right now, the new radio system is, if the fire's in Guadalupe, Guadalupe responds, but they also dispatch the nearest fire station to also start responding. So we thought, can we utilize those that are responding with R2 to make the 4? The only problem is everyone has to be there on the ground in 4 minutes. Santa Maria cannot get here in 4 minutes. So we couldn't utilize that type of system to see if we could still kind of lower the cost. So we've been working on this for over a year and a half or 2. And we've been working and talking with them. I never reached out or talked to I only talked to 1 agent. Agents wanted to call me. I sat last night with Mr. Gonzalez agent on the phone, and she didn't know any of this, because at first she was pretty hot, and I understand that. She wanted to vent. She wants to represent her clients. Well, if I explain, she says, I didn't know that. It says, I've never seen the report. All I get is a number. Now I understand it. It doesn't correct it, but now she understands. And so I will definitely take a hit on that, as far as people just wanted to know what was going on. And that's why I thought to kind of put this together. We're still going to brainstorm. If you go to the next slide and you see what I'm talking about, pros and cons. Okay, we can do that, meet the ISO standards. We can improve public safety, but it's cost prohibitive. I still have to go through employee unions, and thank God I got Phil, because we get beat up. And Sylvia, she's great, but yeah, we deal with employee unions. I gotta get and I've talked to cops about doing it. Some don't want to do it, fire, some don't want to do it. So it's, there's negotiations, and the cost negatively affects other city programs and departments. I think that should be it. I hope people understand that we have not just been sitting on this. We've been working on this, going through this. I've learned an awful lot about this every 7 years. So we're looking at, like, what can we do? And if the last part, if someone on Facebook, there was a gentleman who put information down, and it was outstanding about just pretty much what I had, but even more in depth about what the process. And he put on there telling people it's not the city and the insurance company, it's an outside company that's being regulated. He told him, says, if you really want to change this thing, you need to talk with your representative and file your complaint there, because the city has no control over that. And he was absolutely correct. So that's my
Well,
chief's
you know,
report.
there's, you hit this superficially, but you give us the general information, but we need to take a deeper dive into what we can do. And I know that, I don't know if Christina has anything from the state perspective, what we can do on that end, because it's, by looking at the cons, you know, right now our budget is for the fire department is 1.5 million. And that's a good portion of our $8 million annual budget. So I think that where the council and the staff and finance department need to look at this and not let it go away, because we need to make sure that we're not sitting on it. And then look at our state representatives, because that's where it's gonna have to me, end up. Especially this ratings firm, it just seems like they just pull things out of the air and say, you have to do this. And for a small community like ourselves, you know, to have, you know, 4 people going on, you know, on a call at one time, it's just, you know, financially, even physically impossible. And we can't get the crew if you don't have the money to pay them. So, please.
Is our fire department fully staffed right now, or do we have any job applications or job postings out there for firefighters?
We have one for fire captain, but I had spoken with HR, and I appreciate she lets me vent. We spoke about the intern program, reinstituting that, and I have a young man. He just dropped off an application for paid call fire. I told him just kind of stand by, because I'm looking at what I can do in my current budget, maybe to kind of do some of those things. But we looked at if we could up some of that money of what the paid call person gets. There's some candidates that already went through the academy. And that's the real issue. When you go to the police department, pretty much 100% have not gone through an academy. So they get hired, department pays for everything, they go through the academy. For the fire department, the individual goes to the academy on their own dime, and then they go look for a job.
I have one more question. So sometimes in rural communities, they have volunteer fire departments. Is that something that you've thought about?
It doesn't give a rate. It doesn't.
It doesn't increase that
no.
if they were to respond.
No. And when we talked about having the police assist, because we have 2 officers on shift, that's the way they calculate for an officer is 0.5.
Okay.
So 2 officers be 1 firefighter. So so that's why we'd have to also hire some kind of part-time. So we'd only have 3. And I can count if I get to the scene and I assist so I'd have to be trained also to help keep that number.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. And thank you to the community members that came out and shared their challenges. I think it's important that you continue to voice any concerns you have. Homeowners insurance is challenging across the state. We have been seeing individuals get canceled. I know they've been using drones just to look at roofs. But as we grow, I want us to be proactive, look 5 years ahead as we continue to grow. I've shared before that we really need to make an investment into the fire department, continue to look at graphs. I don't want to get too into the weeds until later on it's an agenda item, but I would hope that we continue to look at making more investments into the fire department as we grow and we see that need to rise.
One thing I would ask is, we look at that as making more investment to the public safety. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further questions?
So from the ISO rating, the rating they gave,
Yes, sir.
they're saying that volunteer firefighters,
Do not count.
okay, check into the city of Lemoore. Their whole department is still volunteer. Call the city and see what their class rating is.
Okay, well, this is
I
what was
know.
on the paperwork,
No, I know.
and we talked to the
I've seen it
person who
years
does
back.
the rating.
No, I know, because we were all paid call back in 2000, and our class then was what, Pat, when you were brought on, we were probably like a 6 to an 8.
Yeah, but we talked about that the other day. Over here, Pat.
So the previous review to the 2016, our ISO rating was an 8. So in 2016, because of some of the changes that included, and that was a big push that they did when Carmen Johnson was here, upgraded their water systems and things of that nature.
Yeah.
With those changes, we decreased from an 8 to a 4. Again, if we had the number of PCFs that we had back in the day, and those response numbers were there, today we would be a 6 with our current status.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be so big a difference. As Chief mentioned here, our biggest hit was because of that cyclical nature in the hiring and the fire department's world. Right now, there's departments up and down the state hiring, and it's been going on for the last 5 years. So we lost all our PCS to full-time departments.
Yeah, because all the
and-
guys that are our age are retiring now.
Yeah, and most of the people, are going straight from the academy and getting hired into other departments.
Hmm.
With regards to volunteers, prior to that rating, we were at a 10.
Okay.
So the reason it changed is when we transitioned to full-time captains, and then they did the upgrades to the water system that really brought those numbers down.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Chief, you want to go through the rest of the report, or are you done? It's good. Thank you. And like Christina mentioned, thanks for the items for bringing this up. It's not going to go away. We still need to do what we can just need that silver bullet to get more money to hire. So.
Chief, I also want to say thank you for just sharing on Newsom's ruling after this weekend. And Alex, I think it's just been heavy on a lot of community members, and that reassurance is really important. So thank you for that.
Okay, we'll go to item 9, Human Resources Manager, Sylvia.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, community and staff. Update on recruitment. As far as the position for city administrator, the applications have all been reviewed, screened by an external member. The candidates that were selected to move forward in the interview process have all been notified. Scheduling is pending. Responses on availability from council members. So if you have not responded to me, please do so. I
Do you
can
have
send a
date that
reminder.
we need that.
It was sent out in November twice, and I
Okay.
have not heard back from everybody.
So we need a date.
I'll send a reminder.
date certain.
Yeah, just kind of give me your availability, because those of you that have responded, the dates are overlapping. So I'm guessing y'all would want a Saturday to make it a little bit more
Okay, what about
control.
in
So
2 weeks? Can we get a commitment from council or
To send
maybe
me schedules?
someplace in February? It's got to be February.
yeah,
so.
it would be nice. So I'll send something
Yeah, we
out
need
just
to
to
move on
remind
this.
everybody.
Thank you.
Public safety, we did hire the airport police officer, and the newly graduated officer has also joined. Both of them are in the process of getting familiar with their teams, and that's been working out very nice. The fire captain position, that is the backfill. We did have a very strong response to that and got some qualified candidates. The panel is ready to interview the second week of February. So those applicants have been notified as well. We recently reposted the paid call firefighters to get those applications going, and said you got one today? Yeah, so I should be getting that. Parks and Rec, we finally got a building attendant. He actually started already. I believe he has already been able to help, so that's good news for our rec department. Wastewater operator 2, we did extend an offer, and he actually has accepted, and he's in the background process. So hopefully he'll be onboarded by our next meeting. The water maintenance operator one, we are still looking at qualified candidates. Hopefully we'll get some more on that position. Finance director, we did extend an offer, but unfortunately it was declined. We do have another interview coming next week, so we'll see how that goes. Workers' comp, the OSHA log that has a deadline of the end of the month that was completed and submitted. We did have 2 injuries in December. One of them required a very short-term modified duty, but is back at full duty. We still have 1 long-term workers' comp that does remain active on modified duty. And another long-term that will be monitored for quite some time. Driver's training, driver safety training, we still have a couple of stragglers that have not completed the program. But just about everybody, I think we have about 98% that completed that. We did the mandatory anti-harassment training at the beginning of this month for all new hires over the last few months, and some of those that were missed. So that was attended, and then later this year, we will have the rest of the staff so that we stay compliant with the 2-year training cycle. Employee handbook was finally done. That is with council for his review. And not you. Sorry. Sorry, Philip. You have enough work.
But it's with Phil or with,
Not with Phil.
got it.
And then and then lastly, we have an employee recognition lunch coming up mid-February. And that is it for me.
Thank you. Any questions?
How many applicants did we get for the city administrator position?
Total, we got 12, I believe.
I had a quick question. I know you mentioned building attendant.
Mhm.
I don't think the building attendant needs to be at the city council, but I know that council member Fernandez graciously said yes to helping us with the Zoom. But in the future, I would like to see a plan for the city to take that over, just to make sure that she has her full attention to do her job as a council member. Thank you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions from Sylvia? You, Sylvia? If not, thank you, Sylvia. All right, next item 10, Recreation Service Manager, Mr. Navarro.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, city staff, and public. You still with me? All right, let's get to it. So I'm gonna start with October. Geez, it feels so long ago. But if you guys remember way back in October, we had a few things that were really special. We kicked off with a movie night, was really well attended, flowed right into Guadalupe. If you haven't heard, it will be back. But that was really a joyous celebration. We had lowriders, we had food trucks, we had carnival games, we had a giant slide in the back here. It was a blast. A very well attended evening, safe fun for the entire community. We had the explorers in attendance, and it was awesome. Then we had a community veranda here in our lobby case. That it's all right, we had a handful, next year, y'all. Next year, let's get in more. And we had a Dia de los Muertos event at our cemetery, which was the first, and that was really nice. We had a lot of positive feedback from that. Had people. It's nice because it's so open that you drive by and what's going on there, and it coincided with people that were just there on their own, unaware of the celebration. It was a great evening. I'm gonna roll into November. November we had again a movie night. Great movie. Movie nights they're around like 20 people. I'd like to see it up, but yeah, it's still nice. It's free popcorn, free entry, and why not? Let's do a plug for this upcoming movie night. We just had one the last week, and shouts out to Sneaky Pico and GV Pack for providing free hot dogs. So you get free entry, free popcorn, free hot dogs. Everything on our snack bar is under $4. You can't miss, anywhere from town. It's 2 minutes away. It's free entertainment. Please. Next one will be February 13th. It's going to be a good one. Bring your sweetheart. Going back in November, we had our last poetry jam of the year. which we have a member that is part of our Guadalupe Poetry Society, if you will. It's been going great. It's really cool to see not only consistent people coming out, which is around like 15 consistent, but every single time we have about 5 or more new people out of the area. This past one, we just had one in January. We had members from AG and Shell Beach, Grover Beach, and the word's getting out, and it's nice to not only having community members from our own community, but the community at large come into Guad and enjoy and have an outlet for their thoughts. So let's roll into December. December, man, that was really fun. Again, we had our movie night. We had free hot cocoa, another free. Well attended. It was a great movie. Again, come on by. Just check it out. See what you're missing. That's all I'll say. We had holiday market and coinciding with the Christmas parade. Shout out to Kiwanis. Beautiful evening. It was everything I imagined it to be. In previous years, we'll just say the Christmas spirit was low, but that was not the case this year. And it really takes a team. Shout out to the entire Guadalupe community, from Kiwanis, from city staff that was involved. It was just a beautiful thing to see our community have that Christmas spirit, and see that joy in their eyes and that wonderment. So thank you for everybody who was involved, and we'll see you next year. It was a great success, and we just want to continue that momentum. We also had another community member, shouts out Francisco for being our Santa out there. He came by and volunteered, and then he not only for that night for the actual parade, but then following day and the following Saturday, he was willing to come out and just and I wasn't sure if people were going to come out to see Santa, but they did, and people driving by were honking, being in support of it, and that was really cool to see. So just encouraging that Christmas spirit. It was cool to just be an eyewitness to that around town. And then we also put on a volleyball tournament on the 20th, hoping for the best. Wasn't sure I was going to go. Turned it out to be a huge success. It was a free tournament. We had 8 teams. We had over 80 people in attendance, including the fans. We had the return of our Joe Harris. It was incredible. I couldn't have asked for a better situation. The participation was there. We had people from all over, from Orchid, Santa Maria, AG, Napomo, multitude of ages, all just for fun. And all the games we played, about it was quite a handful of games. But once we got to we had the first round of, once we got into the bracket, the first one was the best versus the lowest ranking team. It went by quick. But from then on, every single game was down to the wire to the next point wins, which was just so exciting to see. And you can't plan those things, so it was just a huge success. And that's pretty much everything from the December, the October through December reports. I would like to know, like I had mentioned earlier, February 13th is our next movie night. Come in, free hot dogs once again. Shout Sneaky Pico GV pack, free entry, free popcorn. We're going to have some new sweet treats on the menu. Come check us out. And also February 28th, the last Saturday in February, father-daughter dance. Please, it makes its return. Please sign up for that. Contact my office, 805-356-3906, or you could email me, anavarro ci.guadalupe.ca.us. Please, is $30 per couple. It's going to be a fun evening with DJs, activities, what have you. We're going to make it really worthwhile for y'all, and we're excited about it. Thank you.
Any comments from the questions? I had several comments. One, it's not Vietnam Memorial Plaza, just Veterans Memorial Plaza. Because there's veterans from all kinds of eras. So I know she got a Vietnam, it's Veterans Memorial Plaza. And one of the reasons that volleyball tournament went well is because on Wednesday nights you have open volleyball. So that word gets out that you can play. And you have I don't know how many teams or how many players that go to that open volleyball. And I had several people asking me. I noticed that out in the field, the baseball field, the weeds were killed, or that in the process of the park staff is actually weed killing. So, and I mentioned there were several individuals that were talking about what's going on with adult softball. Is there anything in the works?
Yes, most definitely. So I would like to organize, get volunteers to come out and let's get this field in order, because not only will we have the adult softball looking somewhere in May, but we're also bringing Junior Giants. It's a program through the MLB team, the San Francisco Giants, for youth baseball and softball. Registration will start in April. We're waiting on all the flyers and printables from them, but we're going to start to push that out. That is a full-on go. So we're going to be needing that field, definitely.
What is it? What do they offer?
The Junior Giants?
Mm-hmm.
It's baseball. Pretty much, I want to say the minimum age is 6, and then it goes all the way through junior high. It is, everything's free. Registration's free. The equipment is free. There's, the whole thing.
Now, I would assume there needs to be a program ongoing for them to come in to give equipment to. So is there any energy behind that, getting that ball field you can do either. You can do adult, you can do softball, you can do kids softball, kids baseball, as long as it's fixed up, because as the movie, you build it, they will come.
Mm-hmm.
That's what will happen over there. And it wouldn't take much, because there's people that really want both adult softball and also practice field for Little League, practice field for softball field. As we know, there was 4 softball teams here that played league games here. There wasn't in my era, there was Little League teams here, but that's way gone. But there's people that are willing to help. And I noticed from your minutes that it talks about community participation, no participation. How do we get more people? I think what happens when you get programs going, you get an interest. There was individuals talking several weeks ago about wrestling, about other things that were going on. So somehow we need to get the fire going for sports programs, and then especially coming into the summer to get that ball field going. And there's people, including myself, that are willing to help with that. So there needs to be, and I'll talk with you about getting volunteers, because people are tapping me on the shoulder. What are we doing? We've got the field out there. Let's make the best of it. So any questions of
Previously, I worked with Ana Mejia from the California Conservation Corps, and sometimes they have volunteers that are able to assist with, like you said, outside maintenance. So I might be able to, if you send me an email, I can share that contact. I think the city might have already signed up with them, but happy to share that information. And then January 30th, is it this Friday, the Las Mujeres groundbreak ceremony?
Correct. At
Okay.
3 p.m.
At 3 p.m. Okay, thank you.
All right, any more questions? All right, thank you. Wonderful. We'll go on to item 11, public hearing to consider adding chapter 18.59 to the Guadalupe Municipal Code to regulate food trucks within the city of Guadalupe, within the city. Go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor, yeah, the recommendation is to continue the hearing to the next meeting. The Director of Planning and myself did not think that it was necessary, it was ready for prime time, so
Okay.
we
All right.
needed to work on it a little more. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing to February 24th.
There's a motion to move the meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All ayes. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Regular business, City Hall repair project presentation. Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council and members of the public. Tonight, we're going to be hearing a presentation from Ravat and Albrecht, who has been doing a comprehensive study of the City Hall and has some plans for how we can move forward with some of the things that we can do here. They will bring a presentation forward, and then there'll be times for some questions afterwards. And as you remember, we received a grant with the help of one of our senators of $1.1 million to help with the facilities here. So we're trying to figure out what the best use of that money is, and also to determine what our future path is going forward, because the need far exceeds the budget.
Right.
So I'm going to turn some time over to Ravat and Albrecht to make their presentation.
Thank you, Jeff. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monse Cross, and
yeah, my name is Greg Ravat, architect with Ravat Albrecht. Monse is going to do the heavy lifting tonight. She's worked really hard on this presentation with staff, and it's really been kind of a pleasure doing what we're doing. But I wanted to kind of just start off with a summary of what we've done to date. So, as you know, the building is pretty early with 20th century, right? I was born in the 20th century. So yeah, so it's pretty old. And so what we've done is surveyed the building. The first thing we started off with was a three-dimensional survey where we had a company that came in and basically spun a device that kind of records everything. So I know there's probably nobody here that's interested in it, but we can actually have a 3D model scan of the building inside and out. And they went so far as to take a drone and take it up to the tower, which is pretty cool. So we've got a lot of data on the building now. We also had our structural engineers survey the entire project, document the structure. We've gone through all of the previous structural reports and previous architectural projects that have been done, and pretty much identified, everything that's existing in the building. The next step that we have is to start. Well, let me back up a minute. We actually have structural plans to repair the building. A little bit more work. We could actually come in and do all the seismic repair on the building, and roof repair and windows and all that stuff. I think the issue that we're coming up with is we know that we don't have enough budget to do the entire project. So we've really been doing studies on what repairs need to be done, possible phasing, and scoping of the repairs. And that's where we need your help and staff's help going forward. There's so many priorities. So I don't want to say what the approach is yet. We're looking for your direction. And maybe that's a good, we also did ADA studies and fire analysis and an exiting analysis. So we're pretty up to date, ready to go once you give us direction to creating something that maybe we could bid out and build from. But with that, I want to turn it over to Monse, and she's got a lot of work to present, and beautiful work, by the way. You want to take it away?
Yes. That being said, the information we are proposing a timeline, not necessarily, but a phasing. Sorry, I'm shorter than Greg. Slightly intimidating. So we have like a phasing schedule that we're currently proposing. That doesn't mean that it's the end game, but it's just to give you an idea of what would be. Just to start, this is general information of the site and the facility. Currently, we're in City of Guadalupe. The building was constructed in the 1930s. It is not part of the historical registry, which gives us a little bit of leeway, but we still want to preserve the historical value of the structure and the building. And then just, yes. Yes, it's a historical building because it was built in the 19th, but it's not in the register. It's not in the natural. Yeah. So yes, if the building was in the historical registry, there would be additional grants, but and at the same time, there would be additional hurdles that you would have to go through to achieve completion.
Just to add to that, we potentially to have state or federal
Mhm.
additional guidelines to follow.
Yeah.
Which we will probably
Still,
follow,
yeah.
Within your budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even, we just want you to be aware that it's not part of the
Okay.
state registry, but we want to preserve its,
Thank you. All right.
Spanish style. So we can go to the next slide. So here we go. This is where we start talking about the structural and building conditions. It's an assessment. We know that the building doesn't meet the site code for essential facility. So moving forward, we have to define which areas will be an essential facility, or if the city will propose a different site, which would be essential facility, or will be one of the smaller conference rooms become in that area specifically becomes retrofit to be an essential facility. So that's things that we need to take into account. The roof structure needs to be repaired. There's a lot of roof damage. And then we can go and talk about, the non-shear transfer in the mechanism. There's no adequate shear transfer currently between the floors and the vertical structures. We have, again, this is all structural deficiencies in the current building. So some of the elements, we're having issues with the anchorage of it. There is water damage. Some of it is more obvious than others. Others we were able to see when we did that, when we hired that company to come and do a report for us. So now we're going to go through the infrastructure, the deficiencies and inefficiencies of the current facility. So this is what we were saying. You can see if you walk towards to the women's bathrooms, you'll see damage right away. That wall, there's obvious damage. This is dry rot that we're actually seeing underneath the building structure. Some of the beams have disappeared. They've been eaten because of most of the problem is that there's no gutters in this building.
Mhm.
So the water stays within the building. So it's starting to create that erosion and creating that dry rot in that structure. Here we go. We are talking about the different areas of the roof. Some of the areas like the gym is the most updated area. So that would be towards the end of the phasing. It does need to, it meets code, but it could be improved for future years. So but that would be it towards the end of the phasing. But we already have plywood there, so that's beneficial. The roof can be replaced in stages. So that's one of the things after this meeting, we would like input of, do we do the whole roof? Are you gonna relocate everybody? Or are we gonna do it in stages? And as the different departments will be relocated in order to achieve the work. As I mentioned already, the gym will be done at a later day. There's no urgency for that. As you can see here, we've walked around the structure and we started looking at doors. Some of these doors, and this is not just for an aesthetic, to meet an aesthetic need, but it's also to make the building more efficient, with heating and cooling and safe. Some of these, we have boarded up windows. The doors are hollow doors instead of being solid core doors. So again, if we are thinking of a essential facility, we are not meeting that criteria in that regard. So just showing some pictures so not everybody might be able to walk through the whole building, just to give you an idea of some of the replacements. So we are recommending replacing all of the windows and exterior doors for the entire facility. Now we're going to start going department or section by section. So we're going to start with City Hall, and most of the building is going to need to improve in the electrical, mechanical, plumbing structures of the building. I know that the police and I believe City Hall has generators that are supplying additional support to meet the electrical needs. And I know that they're potentially going to install one at the fire department, but as a whole, that's something that needs to be taken care of, as well as having an updated IT and communication system needs to come and be modernized. As you can see, there's some pictures that you can see of some of the areas, and also creating layouts within the building to alleviate some of the overcrowding that we are seeing in the offices. A little bit more in depth, it's pictures of this specific room that we are here. If you walk to the exit doors on this wall, you'll see that there's some water damage. And as you walk, you feel the floor is squishy. That is not it for safety. It's not something that we want to look into. And then again, we would need to improve in the IT, electrical and mechanical aspect of the building. Now, accessibility, we walked around the building. Yes, we can access the building, but it's not compliant. We are trying to bring this building so from the moment someone parks, they can have access to every space in the building without having to go all the way around the building to get to the other side of the building in order to be granted access. The restrooms are not accessible and do not meet ADA compliance standards. So we would like to bring the restroom facilities, especially if they're being used by the public, so anyone can be able to use it. So we want to make sure that we're providing accessible path, again, from the moment you park while you are at the facility and then the moment you leave. Next slide, please. So now we're going to move to the fire department. The fire department currently, the infrastructure deficiencies or inefficiencies is, for example, we don't have a separation between the apparatus bay and the living space. So they're inhaling all these fumes. There's no, sorry, I'm blanking. There is no exhaust in the apparatus bay. I'm sorry. So we want to take that in account, but the biggest thing is making sure that we have that separation between the apparatus bay and the living quarters. That's gonna require electrical needs to come again to be updated. And as I mentioned before, I know that there's been budgets so they can add a second generator so they can function by using that generator, but it would be great if the facility itself could just support itself without needing the generator for that additional support. one more thing about the apparatus bay. The apparatus bay is undersized. They currently have to park their some of their vehicles outside, and they would like to be able to park both of them at least within the apparatus bay to be fully functioning. Here we go. Working on the layout of the space inside to meet some of the criteria. Again, we want to improve the electrical, mechanical, plumbing of the building. Living quarters and day space need to be redesigned so they can be more efficient and function better, more adequate flow. They currently don't have a locker or restroom facility for themselves. They are sharing the restroom with Public Works, and they're coming from calls. And they would like, if possible, if they have to share a restroom with another department, they would like a private access so they're not walking out of their space to the restroom to take showers and then walk back. So that's was one of their concerns. And they would like same thing, looking at the office infrastructure, just redesigning that layout to be able to meet maybe some of these needs. Now we're moving to the upper part of, you'll see on the presentation, we're in the police department area. Sorry. With this, again, we are gonna need to improve the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, structure systems of the building, as well as the IT and communications. Security concerns is ongoing in the whole facility. Again, if once we replace hollow doors to, solid core doors, that gives you a new level of security, but just being able to maintain that. Currently the restroom facilities, they would like, when we talk to the female officers, employees, they would like their separate area. So have a men's and a women's locker room. Currently they're sharing. So it was one of their concerns. There's multiple unfinished rooms on that wing of the building. So again, if we rework the layout, maybe we can use those spaces to provide the needs of the items that they're looking for. We talked about already that we want to respect the historical importance of the building. So we're going to try to avoid destructive retrofitting methods to respect, maintain the stucco repairs throughout the building, replace doors and windows while preserving the original look of the building. So it's not just going to be like, oh, I'm going to grab a random window and replace it. We want to maintain that historical look, as well as installing gutters throughout. You can see on the picture on the bottom right, for me, it's right here. There originally used to be some sort of gutter system, and we would like to research and replace it so it will meet that same look and respect the historical value of the building. So here's where we're going to talk about the proposed phasing. Again, this is something just to give you an idea of where we want to start. So phase one, as we said, one of the most important things is getting that roof retrofit and functioning and making sure, and we can do that and then we're proposing how the phasing would be. We would start, for example, we can start with the police department, then move down to City Hall, finish with the police and public work area, and then come and work with the anchoring and the rest of the structural system for the gym. So this kind of gives you a general idea of the cost that it would entail. So then here we go. It would be a full seismic retrofit. We're gonna need to replace roof diaphragms, any roof to wall connections that have been damaged or are not code compliant. Work on the floor framing to foundation connections to make sure. Remove and repair any dry rot throughout the building. Installing the gutters is going to be very important at the moment that we have a new roof. having that gutter system is going to be essential. So all those repairs don't go to waste because the water won't have anywhere to go. So we want to move that water away from the building so we don't see ourselves in the same situation down the line. Again, we're trying to respect the Spanish style character of the building, and we will try to reuse the current terracotta roof tiles to maintain, but mostly it's going to be towards the front of the building, which is what's being viewed, and then find alternative solutions for towards the back that you're not privy to. And that will help with the cost. Here's an idea. This is what the structurals provided, just to give you a general idea of how they are dealing with the seismic components, being one, getting that roof updates. That would be part of the phase 1 re-roofing, making sure those shear walls and foundations are upgraded so they can handle the load of the roof. Dealing with the dry rot and water damage can be implemented throughout the phases. But again, it's important that we take care of that. And also, just a reminder, adding those gutters will help us in the long run to prevent the damage to reoccur. So now we're talking about, so that would be the largest phasing, and then going from phase 2 to 5, it's dividing the buildings or the areas. Again, this can be changed depending on the need or the relocation of these departments. Some departments might be easier to move than others. Some departments might have more funding than others. So that this is just to give us an idea. We're thinking of starting with the police department, reworking the spaces that need to be reworked, and meeting those needs that the department has, as well as meeting code compliances for that area. So this is just kind of a little summary of what would be done. And now we'll go a little bit more in depth in the different areas. Some other things will be repeated throughout each of the phase, like preserving the Spanish style character features, the upgrade of the IT, digital, electrical, mechanical, plumbing systems throughout. And then it gets into more specifics. Number 3, like bringing restrooms facilities to compliance, replacing those doors and windows. So we're going to see that throughout because the whole building needs it. Replacing the flooring wherever needed throughout the building to get rid of the dry rot that it's currently present. And then again, making sure that the building is seismically braced. So, in case of a earthquake or something, this is almost like a essential facility if that's what we're moving towards. Again, for the police department, we have a lot of unfinished rooms that can be given new uses and meet the needs of the building, extra storage. We have the evidence rooms that can be accommodated in these spaces, additional lockers or restrooms, and then the whole facility. It would be great if we could have the whole facility with a fire and alarm and a sprinkler system. Okay, for the fire department, the biggest thing is getting those thickness and fire resistance ratings, using non-combustible materials, making sure our exterior doors are, solid doors, replacing the flooring, dry rot that's present, and then adding an exhaust system in that apparatus bay, creating a larger apparatus bay for them to meet their needs, as well as creating a separate locker room and restroom for them to have as a facility. Go to phase 4. City Hall, working on replacing that entry door would be the beautiful wooden entry door. We want to replace it with a new door that matches the historical details. And then same thing with the wrought iron gates. They are there, but we need to reinforce for security for the building. Let's see what else is modernizing the conference rooms and council room chambers for meetings to make them function more and meet the needs of the space. Let's see, I think, okay. Then we have Public Works. Public Works is more of a restructuring of the space so that we can have a better flow and better workspace. And then again, updating the electrical, mechanical, plumbing stations. As I said, a lot of the items kind of follow themselves because the whole facility is kind of at the same level right now with their needs. So for phase 6, towards the end, we want to bring, have that full ADA compliance, providing the continuous accessible path of travel and upgrading all the signage, making sure that people know where to go. And we would have to remove, as we're creating new ramps, we will have to remove and replace landscape, hardscape elements as necessary, while removing and modifying and upgrading the utilities to meet the current need for the building and future services demands. So, and again, we're throwing a cost attached to it. So we can go to the next slide. So here kind of gives you visual idea of how much the cost would be for these 5 phases to come to be. And again, they're not set in stone. It's just to give you an idea of the direction we can move towards. Next slide. And now if you have any questions, comments, we are here and we'll do our best to answer them.
What is a new building cost? 30,000 square foot. What's the running? $800 a square foot? 1,000 square foot?
So this is the famous cost estimators answer. How much does a new car cost? So
too much.
Yes. So we looked at different buildings and again, we don't have plans that are developed enough to do
Sure.
a real cost estimate, but what you're asking for is replacement cost.
Yes.
And
That's,
it's
I'm
a
just
guess.
being
We're coming up
facetious,
with $900 a square foot.
Mhm.
It could go higher. We've seen other buildings.
That's
come
without
in
the land.
lower, Possibly.
Yeah.
Depends what the site is, what the level of
Okay.
finishes and quality is, but
And how
costs are
large the
still,
departments
Sure.
will be.
yeah, they're still going, costs are still going up surprisingly, faster than inflation.
Yeah. I would, David, you talked with staff. Have they seen this? I'm sure they have. Huh? Okay. Okay. There's a lot of arm wrestling going on. Huh? Okay, okay.
Can I ask a quick question? I just have a quick
Sure,
question.
sure.
On the presentation phase 2 through 6, the total building cost is $4.1 million. And then there's the additional phase 1, which is
The retrofit.
800, right?
Yeah.
So is it about 5 total? And what do we have for? We have 1. Sorry. Okay.
Right, prioritizing, yeah.
Did we already receive that one from the state? Did we grab that money?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. I know that they had a budget shortfall. Just want to make
And
sure that
it's-
we
And it's
collected
not one anymore either because there has been.
cost. Okay.
Mhm.
I think this presentation was really important. I think we've seen walking through City Hall, seeing the need for the improvements. Safety and protecting the building is what should come first. If the building isn't structurally safe and we're continuing to take on water damages, everything just costs and risky over time.
Go ahead, yeah.
So are we looking at, the intent of this is to, for the council to look at the monies that we have and say, take this amount and repair this and take this amount and repair that?
Yeah.
Yes. He's in charge. right?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. I'll address that question. So, we have met internally with city staff several times, and we've come to the conclusion that since we do have such limited funds, our recommendation would be to repair the roof and do the seismic retrofit. Now, if I could give you a little story, in 2003, during the San Simeon earthquake, I was working for the city of Atascadero, and they're building, I was in the third floor of that building during the earthquake. And I did what I was taught in school, which was to get under my desk, right? And as I'm sitting there, I'm seeing the bricks falling outside my window. And I'm thinking, well, this is how I die, right? I was the last person out of the building. Everybody else just ran. And thankfully, the city had their essential facilities, police and fire at other locations, and their buildings were not affected. Here at City Hall, we don't have that luxury. Our essential facilities are in this building, and so we don't meet the criteria for an essential facility. If we do have an earthquake, where's police and fire going to be in those kind of situations? So what we're trying to do with this presentation is show you what the needs are so that we can work together, look for other ways to fund
Right.
the needs of this. And it might be that it's cheaper to send police and fire to a new facility that becomes an essential facility, and it's at a higher standard. But we still want to make this building safe for everybody that's here.
Go ahead.
Just to clarify, you were saying what your recommendation is to repair the roof.
Yes.
And in looking at some of the diagrams, or whatever, did I read that the gym roof was something to be deferred? Or so when you say
So
roof, what are you talking
the
about?
gym roof has already been seismically retrofitted. So it's the remainder. It's the main city hall and the wings that would be part of the roof retrofitting. That includes the seismic retrofitting and also the roof replacement. Now, the work is going to be very impactful to people that are in City Hall. They're going to have to move out of their offices, out of the wings while it's happening. So we're going to have to figure out temporary facilities during the work. It's not as simple as going to your house and just getting a new roof from the guys that go climb up there, because all the seismic retrofitting is going to require removing basically all the walls, the roof, everything.
Well, it makes no sense to do anything lower than the roof. You know, when it rains, we all see that the lath and plaster just doesn't hold up to rain. So,
Yep.
What are the priorities for staff?
So staff, I mean, we would follow the engineer's lead with the roof. I mean, that's if your walls look beautiful, but your roof falls in every time it rains,
Yeah.
it makes zero sense, right? So that would be 100% accurate.
One of the things I've mentioned before is most of our population is Main Street and going toward O'Connell Park and Pasadena. So most of our population is over there with our fire department here and our other fire department over there. So I was thinking maybe DJ Farms will donate property for us to build a fire station. I don't think it's big enough to build a fire and police station. It's those little acreages. I don't know how many. I know there's about 5 parcels there. Maybe Jeff knows that.
I think it's 15
Are you,
acres.
do you mean the front parcels where the
Right.
the industrial?
Commercial, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'd be surprised if they just give it away.
yeah, I would too.
Yeah, I think we missed that.
Although we put a lot of money into their pocket when we were doing the
For sure.
Caltrans thing. What do you need from us?
Your recommendation on where you would like us to start.
A roof.
We'll direct our
That's my,
Yeah.
opinion. I think it might be the same here. So.
And
Yeah.
to put a little bit addition on this, I have sent this to Townsend. Because there is a grant for essential facilities that could get us upwards of 5.5. If we were awarded, and that would cover our costs. Because we do have police, fire, and we have
Right.
already like a history of using this for, during evacuations with the FEMA issue and all that in 23. So that will be going up next month, I think is when that opens
Okay.
for submittal. So thanks to all the work that they've already done.
Well, we need
They
a
did all the
starting point.
legwork
We
for
need a
us.
starting point. So.
Correct. So
Yeah.
we didn't have to farm out all that. They already gave us the data that we could use to submit for
Sure.
the ground. So
I was always under the impression that the total gym roof was replaced because we had the tile on this side. But the other side, I saw a picture, the other side isn't replaced. I mean, it's still.
It's
It's
all
still
asphalt
ti-
on the other side,
it's all-
on the back side.
with a lot growing on those roofs. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any more comments, any suggestions? This is great. Well, it's great in the sense we know what's going
but
on.
also Jeff and during the transition, like during the work, we still have to take into account trailers for moving people possibly. So there's going to be additional costs. Like it's not going to be 700 grand. It's going to be 700 grand plus
Temporary
temporary
facilities.
facilities. Correct. Yeah. And that's just for the roof part.
Well, we have the senior center. They could put an office back there.
We've moved the police over there.
Yeah,
There's a parking lot.
yeah. You've got so many cars now, each one of them can have a car. This is a very good report. I mean, it gives us a benchmark today. It'll be a little higher tomorrow. But I remember in that tower, Guadalupe City Tower, there's a guy, and Amelia knows him, somebody else is Dickie Moretti. We went up there when we were doing the kitchen, and up in the bell tower, there's all these guys that scribbled, Dickie was here and the year. Up in the bell tower, and the bell's still there, isn't it? Is it still there?
Yeah, it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not hung. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Well, I don't have any other questions.
I
think
just
that-
have
I'm
one.
sorry.
No, that's okay. I just want to say that if we had all the money, let's say if we got a grant, I feel like the way that they phased it would have been
Exactly.
exactly what we would do too. So,
Yeah.
so if we get the money, I would agree with
Well, it's a
that.
start.
Yeah.
that's-
It's great to be proactive, have a plan in place and look forward to the future and hopefully see some grants in there.
Yeah, and it
Thank
breaks
you.
it down into phases that we can, smaller chunks. If we can't get a big grant, maybe we get the smaller ones to
Exactly.
do
Manageable.
the small portions of it.
Well, thank you for the
Thank you.
presentation. We got our work cut out for us, so. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Chief, I just had a quick question. Did you make sure to give the young lady in the back your card, your business card? I'm not too sure if she's waiting here for your information or not. Yeah, she's waiting, just so that way she gets to go home, please.
By the way, I just wanted to, you asked if they had met with city staff. Actually, Revat and Albrecht did set up meetings with every department.
Okay.
And they came up with their needs.
All
So
right, good.
they've done a really great job of trying to integrate the staff into all the recommendations.
You were there when the two individuals were killed then.
Well, I wasn't there,
I mean,
but
okay. During the earthquake, yeah.
I was in that unreinforced masonry building
Right,
during
right.
that earthquake. Yeah, yeah, it was pretty terrifying.
No.
I was jumpy for a couple years after
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go to item 13. 6-month financial report for the period ending December 31st, 2025. Annette,
Annette, do you want your presentation up right now?
Oh, yes, please. Thank you.
are we good for break? We need a.
Or do you want a break?
Aisle break would be great.
We
can do-
5-minute break,
Okay.
maybe 8-minute. We're hot.
Need my-
And then. Yeah.
And I'll just say slide, and then you can just change the slide.
Yeah, but you can't figure it out on that.
Ready? Yeah. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, community residents, staff. For those of you who don't know me,
Okay.
my name is Annette Munoz, and I'm currently the interim finance director for the city. What you have before you is a 6-month financial report for the period July 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025, which represents 50% through the fiscal year. I will be focusing on the revenue and expenditures for 3 funds. I will start with the general fund and then move on to the revenue and expenditure for both the water and wastewater funds. General fund revenue, slide. Total revenue received as of 12/31/25 is 39.9% of the approved budget as compared to the city being 50% through the year. The 3 main sources of revenue for the general fund are property tax, sales tax, and transfers from other funds. These 3 sources account for 70% of general fund revenue. Property tax trickled in for the first 6 months of the fiscal year. The city receives the largest payments at the end of January and June. That is why revenue for this source is only received at 15.8% of the budget at December 31st. Sales tax comes in monthly, and the percentage represents a real-time figure. At 6 months, we are currently ahead of budget at 62.9%. Transfers from other funds are an internal calculation that represents costs of services the general fund provides for all other funds. Revenue from this source is currently received at 25.3% of the budget. Other revenue sources include utility user tax, cannabis, franchise fees, building permits and planning, business licenses, rental property, and other revenue. The other revenue line at the bottom of the list has been expanded to show the activity for that category. Slide. So this is the general fund other revenue. The 3 largest items in the other revenue category include revenue from other agencies, budgeted at $250,000, of which the city has received $207,849. Contributions, non-government, budgeted at $90,000, of which $90,000 has been received, and police overhead budgeted at $45,000, of which the city has received $39,155, all as of December 31st, 2025. Slide. This pie chart illustrates the portion of each budgeted revenue source for the general fund. Property tax in dark blue at $2,125,000. Transfers from other funds in orange at $1,785,384, and sales tax in green at $1,290,000. As stated earlier, general fund revenues are currently 39.9% of budget, and we are 50% through the year. Revenue comes in ebbs and flows and tends to catch up by fiscal year end. General fund expenditures, slide. Total expenditures are currently on budget at 50.4% expended as compared to the approved budget. All departments are relatively within budget through December 31st, 2025, except finance and city attorney due to recent personnel changes. General fund departments include city council, administration, city attorney, finance, non-departmental, building maintenance, police, fire, parks and recreation, building and safety, and cannabis. Slide. This slide shows the piece each department uses from the general fund. The largest pieces being the dark blue and brown piece that represent police and fire for the safety of our citizens. Overall, actual expenditures for the general fund are running higher than revenues through December 31st, 2025. This is related to the timing of the receipt of revenue funds. We are expecting at least $800,000 in property tax by end of January, by end of this month. A structural budgeted shortfall is projected for the end of the year in the general fund due to two issues. Slide. Fiscal year 2026 expenditures, the orange bar of $8,297,605 were budgeted to exceed revenues, the blue bar of $7,460,584. This equates to an $837,000 shortfall. Number two, transfers for other funds were overestimated in the budget by approximately $800,000 or more. Staff will continue to monitor closely and provide a financial report to council. Staff, along with council, will need to determine the next steps in addressing the situation in the general fund. This concludes the general fund portion of the presentation. Are there any questions or comments before we move on to the enterprise funds?
I have a question.
Yes.
So you said that the expenditures were planned to be over 800,000.
Budget was approved.
The budget was approved with that. We approved that?
Yes. we did.
Okay. Okay, so that was the plan. But then you haven't gotten into the other stuff that you talk about with Measure A, correct?
Well, the Measure A is the number two, which is part of this, of the deficit that's going to happen at the end of the year, which is transfers. It was a transfer from other funds, which was Measure A.
Okay.
And that was overstated because Measure A doesn't have 780,000 to transfer into the general fund. So that was maybe an error. I don't know. I wasn't here.
Big
So
error, yeah.
So the Measure A,
is budgeted to transfer 780,000 to the general fund.
right, no, I understand. Measure A, I can't remember if I read, it's been a couple of days since I went through this. What is Measure A?
Measure A is through SBCAG.
Safe transportation stuff.
Oh, understood. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so enterprise funds. We'll move on. Slide, please. The water fund revenue illustrated on the left side in blue is currently received at 53% of budget. Water operating expenditures are below budget at 42.8% of budget. The wastewater fund revenue illustrated on the right side in tan is currently received at 75.2% of budget due to other government grants received of $601,912. And I hadn't had a chance to look that up to see specifically what that grant is. Somebody might know out there in the audience, but I didn't know off the top of my head. So, but that's what's creating that 75.2% revenue received over budget. Wastewater operating expenditures are below budget at 46.2% of budget. Enterprise funds are generally in line with budget, and city staff does not expect any further fluctuations in these funds. This completes the enterprise portion of the presentation. Are there any questions or comments before we conclude?
It's interesting that we don't know where that 601.
I can look it up.
Okay.
I actually printed it up and I have it there, but the explanation I have to go deeper
Okay,
into
right.
it. Some kind of
Because
grant.
that could be CDBG, right?
It might be.
It could be
I
the
think-
lift station.
I think you're right. I
think
think
it's
you are right.
CDBG.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I know that the property tax is supposed to come in shortly. Okay. Yeah, really. Well, that's not gonna go, it's not gonna cut into that deficit. No. What was we don't know, what was our property tax for fiscal year last year? We don't. Right, maybe a little more, yeah.
Updated on what's happening with that.
You're doing a lot of digging.
Mhm.
You know, and it's back to, maybe it's a minor thing, but when we looked at the cost for the cleaning and not having to pay interest on the, non-payment. There was what, 7 or 8,
Or,
when Amelia brought it up, we looked at the, for the,
oh.
we were paying late
what she was
fees.
talking about,
Yeah,
right.
that was October, November, December, Janie. And then that was for the senior center. So I would almost just bet that those invoices didn't get forwarded to the right people to get
Okay.
coded.
Right.
That would be my bet.
Well, that's
because
minor,
was
but it
for
does
the
add
same
up, so,
location.
yeah.
I have a quick question. What does this mean for the rest of the year and for possibly next year's budget?
Well, that's why, and we're halfway through the year, so we have to see what we can do in terms of I don't want to say cutting costs, but
Staying under budget.
staying under budget and right now just, not doing anything way out of this world
Yeah,
until
so
we
what is
know where
boiling
we
down
are.
right now is even if we come up even, we're still 1.6 negative.
Yeah.
So next year's budget is going to have to be 1.6 less regardless. And we have to try to figure out a way to make up 1.6. That's going to be the difficult part because we can't get a grant to make up money that we misbudgeted. You know what I mean? That's just not even practical.
Well, what is, oh, excuse me, go ahead.
So, no, go ahead.
I was to say, what is our, and I did forget the name of the fund, but is there an emergency fund or something to that effect? Reserves, thank you.
Yeah, so the reserve fund is kind of commingled with actual city money right now, and we don't know how much we actually have in reserve fund because we're still auditing
So
4 years worth of work.
So the reserve fund is it's general, all the fund balances they roll forward to the next year. But if we haven't finished auditing 22, 23, we don't know what the roll forward was to 23, 24, then 24, 25. And so that's why we can't say what right now, if I printed something out and I showed David, it was $3 million, but we don't know if that's a true number because it's a roll forward from the past and we haven't finished doing the past. If that makes sense.
Right. But if it is a true number, then our reserve is very good compared to our operating costs because it would be more than like the 15%.
I was gonna say, what is the reserve that we have to maintain?
15% of the budget.
15%.
Of operating costs, in general fund.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one more question. What is franchise fees listed on the general fund revenue by category?
So that is like, for instance, the trash to come into our city and to bill our residents for their services. We charge them a franchise fee to come into the city.
Got it. Thank you.
Is there any one-time transfers being used to support ongoing operations
A one-time transfer from
any of the revenues that we've seen that we need to like look forward to and
Don't touch water or wastewater.
So that is actually what the cost allocation plan is. That's the,
Pull some of that down.
well, because we service, the general fund, we service all the other funds.
Right.
We do their payroll, their accounts payable, and we maintain certain so we do exactly what you're saying. We actually,
So your
have-
time based on wastewater is picked up as is his other staff.
right.
Yeah.
And it's based on how many employees, like in finance, do wastewater. Like our utility billing person is probably 100%. I won't be 100% because I don't do just wastewater. I do water. I also do, well, it's the enterprise funds. But I do other things, not just 100% water. So that's why we have that cost allocation plan to take into consideration what all the employees do, and what funds they work with and so forth, like that. And we only use direct, and then what we do is we use each fund's their direct costs. No, wait, it's our direct costs. So what we do is we use a percentage of their fund to pay back the general fund, but we don't include in their fund, like Measure A, we don't include capital expenditures. We don't include debt service. And so what happened in Measure A, capital was included, and then it spiked it up, and we knew that wasn't right. There was something, because they don't have that much, it just didn't make sense. So anyway, that's what happened there.
One more question. On page 2 of the report, there's a negative in the revenues for other permits and fees.
So we think what that is like a refund on there, because when people come into the city and put money down for a permit, it's typically whatever we don't use in consult, like for the engineer or whatever, then we refund it. And I'm thinking that might be a mistake, like it should be in another category, but that's what I believe that could be. So.
Okay. Because it looks, it's minor,
Right,
but
but
you
it
know, when you're,
sticks out.
yeah, when you're
Mhm.
looking at, we were anticipating, $2,000
Right.
in revenue, but we've actually almost,
Right, we're the other way.
exactly. And then what if you recall contributions non-government, there's a $90,000 revenue. Do you recall what that was?
So, again,
It's okay if you don't.
no,
I'm
no,
just curious.
I don't know specifically what it is because, what? Do they?
Oh. The
But-
Chevron, that's a Chevron check.
Is it the 90,000?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she's
The
talking
Chevron
about
check.
something
No,
different.
contributions non-government. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's 90.
We
Yeah.
got 90K.
I
Cool.
just didn't know they still did that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They did it when
Thank
I
you.
was here back in 20.
Yeah, they're doing it for 20-something years. So
Wow, that's nice.
let's tell them to
Thank
triple it.
you.
Yeah, right.
I owe you. I didn't know they still did that.
I know that, I'm assuming everybody got information from our auditors about the budget with 22-23 audit.
The email from Bud.
Yeah.
The
Budweiser.
questions, right? The questions they.
No, they just ask the questions.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that doesn't mean they're done with the audit.
No,
It's
that-
just part of the audit
sure, that's one.
procedure that they
Right.
need to do. And we are still working on it. And actually, we started, that's why you got the
Right.
the letters, because we couldn't start before then because the auditors were working on 24, 25 for all their other customers.
Yeah.
So we had to wait until they were done and then we could get started. So.
Will the expenditures for the finance and city attorney stabilize at some point, or
It-
just because we're gonna?
Right now, we have consultants in finance that we didn't have before because I can't do this alone.
Right.
There's just too
Gotta
much.
dig,
So he's really helping, helping us. And he's sort of the go-between too with the auditors, in terms of, I get stuff, reports going, but if he can get stuff, then he gets it. So we're kind of working as a team, trying to just push it through.
Right.
Thank you for that clarification. I know that audit is super important. Thank you.
Any more questions? Fingers crossed. Appreciate your work.
Well, you're
All the
welcome.
staff that are doing
You're
this. It's, going back and looking at, some of the issues that we're facing today. So it's just like the building. We need to know what that is so that we can move
Right.
forward. So you have any questions of us or comments or?
No, I just appreciate staff support. I really do. I
Good.
think, David's been great. I will run in there and tell him things, and I don't know if he wants to hear them, but I still keep him informed.
And don't say, not her again.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. I mean,
It is what it is, yeah.
it's great. It's great information.
Okay, item 14, future agenda items. Well, we didn't mention that. I'm sorry, go ahead, unless you folks, the Caltrans meeting, somebody.
Yeah, for future agenda items, I just want to see if we can add the abandoned building to unscheduled items. I know I mentioned it before, but I think it's important we have it under there. I don't know if that's possible.
Are you talking like the ordinance and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay,
unscheduled.
are you close enough to even adding that to the?
It's unscheduled, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just to unschedule, just because
So
I
it's
don't
on
want
the
to
list.
continue to remember at one point I am
Yeah.
gonna forget. And then also I was reached out by the Santa Barbara Botanical Garden. They're celebrating their centennial, so they asked if we can support it with the resolution for April on biodiversity and native plant resolution. Not sure if anybody would disagree on having a resolution.
No.
And then I also was reached out in regards to offshore drilling. I wanted to see if council would be supportive in submitting a public comment opposing the inclusion of offshore to California waters. The federal program could include California waters unless local government comment. Given Guadalupe's history with oil contamination in the dunes, I believe it's important that our city's experience are part of that record.
I would support that. Just say, go ahead.
The first one is
Schedule,
an
yeah.
unscheduled item for abandoned buildings.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just was wondering if that would be okay if council would be supportive of a public comment in regards to that. I know that this administration is trying to find any loophole.
Mhm.
And so I want to see if we can protect our,
I would.
it's not going to help.
Go to Venezuela.
We are still seeing the damages of the oil spill out at the dunes. And so Chevron is still trying to recover. And so I'm really appreciative of the council support on this.
Please.
Agenda. On February 10th, it looks like we're going to have a Royal Theater update. And then on February 24th, have the Royal Theater Oversight Committee discussion. However, that pans out with recent changes. Is the Royal Theater update going to include the financials?
Are you talking the one on the 10th?
Correct.
Correct.
That will include it's close, whatever we have, right?
Right. I think some of the biggest issue with the theater stuff as of right now is the mom stuff. No.
So I am working with Tom and we just are comparing invoices right now to make sure that he has all the ones that I have and I have the ones that he has. So tomorrow there were some that were on not on his list that were on my list. So I have to have one of the people in my department look up all the invoices. And then talk to him about them so that we can see if, his number is going to get closer to my number or vice versa, because we're just trying to narrow it down. So
Is there a significant discrepancy?
no, it's not so much significant. It's just, why do I have invoices and maybe he just didn't get them? That's what I'm thinking.
Just to confirm, that'll be discussed on the 10th. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any announcements? Please.
Yes, very quickly. It's late. I haven't eaten. I attended the fire appreciation dinner, which was at the Elks. Shout out to Louis Ramos, who was our firefighter of the year. Was it last week, the Caltrans meeting? There was a Caltrans meeting last week where representatives came in and gave us an update on all the different projects and the timelines of that. Last Thursday, I went to a forum on can you read? Human trafficking, which was given by Santa Maria Rotary, and it was at the country club this time. Philip was there as well. Philip sat at my table, and it was jam-packed. Last year, they talked about, I attended last year's forum, they talked about female trafficking. This year, they talked about male trafficking, and it was pretty heavy. Very heavy. Chief? Oh. Um. Yeah, I won't go into, it was very heavy. And Friday I went to the presentation on the, behind barbed wire.
The Japanese thing.
Oh, wow. That was outrageous. That was so excellent. I can't tell you how.
There was the band, did they actually play?
Say it again?
Was there music and?
Yeah, there were two different, there was
Right.
a jazz band,
Right.
swing music, Greg's in that,
right.
my brother was in that.
Okay.
And on the, I'm pointing on the stage, on the left side was the orchestra from San Luis Opera. And depending on the
Yeah,
program, you had
right.
the different music. It was,
Wow.
it was sold out. We were lucky to get tickets. After that woman came and spoke
Right.
about it,
Yeah,
I went online right away.
okay.
And my sister-in-law went online 2 weeks after,
It was
sold out.
down
She
at
didn't
the
get to
Clark
go.
Center, wasn't it?
Too
Yeah.
bad, Clark Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sold out last year. And when we left, I asked if it was going to be shown again, and they said it probably will be next year. So I encourage. One thing that was very interesting, there were a number of things, but one individual who was the son of an individual who was they use the term detention
Mhm.
camps as opposed to internment camps, which is the term I heard growing up. And he cited, this was Central Coast Japanese families that were detained and or put into detention camps, Rio Grande, Santa Maria, and Guad. The number of Filipino, sorry,
Yeah.
Freudian, Japanese for Rio Grande that were taken away were 200. Okay. For Santa Maria, the number taken to detention camps were 400. What do you think Guadalupe's stat was?
Took out every other person in town, huh?
Throw out a number. 800. That blew me out of the water. Guadalupe,
A little
800.
town.
Santa Maria, I would have thought
Yeah.
the reverse, but anyway, I won't go on further, but it was superb.
Very,
There is a documentary. It's like maybe not documentary, but it's 2 minutes long in regards to that in Guadalupe, and it's very.
One thing very quickly I want to mention, several years ago, there was a presentation at the Vets Hall. You probably remember a gentleman talked about Chinatowns.
right.
Okay. And then it switched into the Japanese detention camps and so forth, and people on the Central Coast. And then the gentleman talked about reparations.
Mhm.
And I wanted to know what the average amount of the check was, the
20 grand,
reparations.
wasn't it?
So-
Was it 20 grand? Was it?
And the woman that was, a woman who was at that particular meeting turned around and said, Japanese woman said, I don't remember, but I bought a new Honda. And
Honda.
she was at a new Honda. She was at this barbed wire presentation and she spoke. She's, you probably know her, Margaret Cooper. And she's 98 years old.
Wow.
And so she was a young one in Tule Lake, I think it was.
All right, thank you for the update. Yeah.
Right. How many people came to the Caltrans meeting?
30?
Good,
30?
good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
You have anything? No? Gene? Caltrans, at that meeting, I talked to one of the Caltrans representatives, and she said that they were going to come to Guadalupe to talk about the issues around Pasadena. Was anything confirmed with them yet?
I think we have a meeting the first week in February.
Okay, I know she said in a couple of weeks, and that was last
Yeah,
week. so-
I think it was me and Jeff. I know we're on the invite.
Because there was, most of the people were, a good portion were from Pasadena, and then it's a big issue, so. Good, we need to confirm that too. I hope they'll involve the community too, so they know what's going on, so. And then also Smith with DJ Farms. So. But I'll follow up and you will too, I'm sure, so, okay. Is there an announce?
Mayor, just really quick. Yeah. Just wanted to share that I attended the Caltrans meeting, the MLCAL celebration.
But today I had the opportunity to attend a community listening tour at the Boys and Girls Club. It was very insightful, and we heard from Chief Williams, the police in Santa Maria, and he kind of shared his philosophy, and I was really inspired by this. But they shared that their philosophy this year is to support youth, talk to them instead, because many times when police have interactions with youth, it's usually at a stop or a traumatic incident. And in Guadalupe, we have 40% of youth living under the poverty line. And so
40%?
40%, correct. And so just thought about those two statistics, and I hope in the future we can have like an agenda item just about youth and how we can support them, because they need our support. And so, yeah, thank you.
That it? Any, is there a motion to adjourn? Gene?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Okay. Good job. Good job, staff.